Yes.
It's called Breathe. What was the motivation to write this book?
First of all, the motivation was money. I have a good proposal from the publishing house, and I felt like, especially on those days, it's hard to make money. I felt like was a good option. And then the second motivation, the reason I did, was the fact I've been passing for so many experiences, and those experiences make me grow as a man, make me feel like capable to seek for happiness in a much more proper way, and make sure also the development of my warrior tools, not only physical, technical, but also the mindset, the emotional, and also the spiritual aspect of acceptance, shows I've been through a lot, and give my exposure of my life, of things I did to resolve the matters. So it's a very special, I hope you like it, because if you don't like it, I don't have another life to tell you. But the tale of my life is basically on, my experience, my life on Rio, which is very, very unpredictable, very wild. My relationship with my father, my brothers, my growing up as a Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, my times of parties in Brazil, and so it's all my life, which I felt like even my mistakes I use to become a better person. So it was a process, an evolutionary process, which I'm very proud of it, because today, even though I'm physically destroyed, like my back is bad, I have so many injuries, I feel like I'm still using Jiu-Jitsu in a very proper way, through breathing, through visualization, through spiritual guidance, and I take all the information I have as a fighter to live my life, and know how important it is to live my life under those guidance, under those things I really believe and make a difference. And this exposes my life in a way to give people, through my experience, the options or the ideas to really may reinvent themselves and become better.
Last time I saw you, you were talking to me about your back. So your back is still bothering you?
Yeah, my back is going downhill since last time I saw you.
Really?
Yes, because I have no more bones and no more discs in between bones, so it's just bone to bone. I heard about stem cells, I heard about different things. My doctor said I have to do surgery. But at this point, I do exercise. I put myself with much less effort to practice jiu-jitsu and stuff, so I reduce my activities. And I start to live like an old man, It's just not exactly something I prefer, but with the mindset, you can just change things and give you pleasures and things you used to not have. Just today, my walking with the dog, something which give me a pleasure which I didn't have before, So I start to adapt myself to still be happy, to still be on top of my game, with less physicality, with less compromise with the, doing things. So I start to become more peaceful in my mind and my body.
Your father trained jiu-jitsu deep into his 90s, right?
Yes, not training,
gentle.
Showing, gentle, yes. This aspect, I still can do it. I cannot live without it. Showing positions, play on the mat, enhancing people's details, those things are priceless for me, and I will do this for the rest of my life. But I'm talking about my personal, surfing or practice, or, Crow invite me to practice with him. If I train in 5 minutes with him today, going to be 5 months of physiotherapy after. So things like that, I start to stay away from. But other than that, I'm okay.
So have you talked to any specialists about stem cells and whether or not they can help you?
Yes, stem cells, first are very cheap. It's not cheap.
Right.
And I still cashing in to go if I have to. I heard some good things about it. I'm not sure. But the last doctor I spoke with was a neurosurgeon. He said, in my case, it will be hard to create new tissues and new discs and creating spaces again. My process of degeneration is very, very aggressive. So he suggests me a surgery, a fusion of vertebrae and stuff, which I feel like even though if I fix one, the damage in the other vertebrae can get worse then. So I just try to keep a mellow life and start to feel like those injuries become like a gift from God, you know. It's something which I milk my body so much, I have to pay the bills now. And it's nothing I have to do, I have to be good, I'm patient, I have to... No, it's not like that. I have done with my body enough, more than enough. So whatever I have left, I'm happy with.
That's a beautiful attitude about it. The disc degeneration issue is a factor with all jiu-jitsu practitioners. I've had a bunch of disc problems over the years, and I've found some training methods to mitigate it. Specifically, some different pieces of equipment that provide you with spinal decompression. There's a piece of equipment that I talk about all the time on this podcast called the reverse hyper. It actually allows you to strengthen all the muscles around the spine, but it actively it decompresses the spine as well at the same time.
Yes.
But
I like to stay on the pool with weights on my waist and weights on my feet, and the deep pool, and with a flotation device.
Oh, just
so
hang.
I'm hanging on the weight stretching my spine, and I still exercise with the legs. It's been very helpful, but it's just minimizing a little bit, but the problem is there.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that stem cells get to the point where they can regenerate new tissue in between the discs. I know they've had some success with doing that, but I don't know how much success.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you could start rolling again?
Oh, man, unbelievable.
Yeah, every jiu-jitsu guy who gets to a certain age, they reach that point, and except Jean-Jacques. Jean-Jacques is amazing.
Yes.
He's always been so smart in how he trains. He always trains very easy and light. The guy has no injuries.
Yes, he's a good example of a perfect warrior.
He's so smart.
Yes.
In how he trains and just never explodes. Everything is slow progression.
Yes.
Perfect defense.
And you see the knot just tied up around your neck, and eventually say, okay, it's time to tap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's a very... to me, it's very inspirational how he's managed to avoid injuries.
Yes.
And still can train hard.
Yes, very much.
Do you do any kind of exercise other than the pool stuff nowadays?
I do what we can say the physiotherapy ones, the proper abdominals, sit-ups, and the way I do my like Superman positions for enhance the back. I do some gym work, like machines and stuff, but nothing too crazy.
Do you do any yoga anymore or any of the gymnastica natural?
Yes, I do a little bit, not to enhance mobility, because that can create problems. Yeah. But more for breathing, for the movements, for the circulate the energy. Yes.
You were also probably the first in jiu-jitsu that emphasized flexibility. You were always very, very flexible and mobile.
Yeah, I disagree. It's part of jiu-jitsu. We're all flexible. All the cousins, flexibility was part of the idea of jiu-jitsu. Is a thin tree which the storm comes, they bend and they go back normal. A big tree will fall and break. So you don't want to be hard and tense. You want to be flexible and allow yourself to just smooth your escape out like Houdini. So jiu-jitsu has a lot to do with the mechanism of escaping and development of angles and senses. So all the family is flexible. I really like the biogymnastica and also like the movements, be expressing myself with. So I always like to dance. I like to exercise freely. So I may develop a little more than others, but pretty much it's part of jiu-jitsu being flexible.
But your flexibility was always very extreme, though. Like when
Yes.
you stand on a balance bar and do a standing split and hold your leg up in the air.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible.
Yes, it's a good.
How much of that must have also enhanced your ability to perform certain positions?
I was worried about everything, so I could not let my tightness get away from me to do a position, so I was flexible. And I also very focused. I was the first one to see elastic exercise. I did myself. I didn't know it exists. Now people do elastics a lot, but I was going to the diving shop to buy the diving rubber to put in the spear guns, to take home and making a harness on my head.
Yeah.
So I was working with the functional strength in a very early age.
And you just figured that out on your own?
Yeah, I just figured out.
Because I remember that in choke, that you had that rubber band around your head. You're working on your neck muscles, and that's very similar to a thing that I use now that they sell called the iron neck.
Yes, because when you use the strengthening with elastics, you have a resistance for you to do throws. Because if it's static, but when it's pulling off, you have to do the energy of pulling and moving your hip connected to not losing the momentum. So with the elastics, you have a good training for throws, good training for base, good training for movement, for balance, for neck strength, for shoulder strength. So it's a lot of things coming from the bottom and stretch up with the elastics, make a continuous energy from the functional aspect. So I really like the exercising with elastics because it gives me a complete idea and also flexibility and so on.
But you figured all this out on your own.
Yeah, I'm a lucky, smart guy.
You're a lucky, smart guy, yeah. But it's amazing how many people use them now, though. Strikers, judo guys, all kinds of athletes, they use it for functional training.
Yes. And breathing, too. I see a lot of people, like tennis players, using breathing. So the idea of using breathing functionally makes all the difference, because if you don't know how to breathe, you can be an athlete, but you're going to get caught tired with the blood, not enough blood, oxygen in your blood, in your brain, so you start to making poor decisions and stuff. When you know how to hyperventilate, you change the game of your performance. I increased maybe 40% after learning how to breathe.
40%?
40% solid improvement of how to recover, how to last longer, everything.
It's interesting you say that Style Bender, the UFC middleweight champion, has recently started incorporating breathwork, and he said it's made a tremendous difference.
Yes.
And he said, I will never gas out in a fight again. He goes, now I understand how to control my breath.
Yeah, not only gas out, you become much more resilient for fighting, but your brain becomes clear, because when you start to get tired, you don't push oxygen to your brain, so you become dummy and making poor decisions. So functioning in every aspect of your life.
And that's why you decided to title the book Breathe.
Yes. The breathe was maybe the big change in my life. It was when I learned how to breathe. I started to bring in more spiritual possibilities, more mental possibilities. Because what is interesting about the breathing aspect is the brain and the heart are the only organs who can give and receive information. The other organs, liver, kidney, they cannot do that. But when you get upset with something mentally, you bring information to yourself immediately. Your brain is responding. Your heart too, when you get depressed, immediately you feel in your heart. And your heart show you sad, is immediately connection. And what is amazing about that is the lung is the practical aspect within you who are able to control or help your brain and also help your heart. So through the proper breathing, you can control your heartbeats. Through the proper breathing, you can control your mindset and get calmer, control your panic, control your courage, control everything you need in the mental aspect, and also spiritual, hope, faith, visualizations. So all the elements in your brain, all the elements in your heart can be much better guided, much better helped through the lungs. If you don't know how to involve your lungs in your brain, in your breathing, you're not able to favor your brain and your heart the way it's supposed to be.
It's kind of amazing that everybody breathes, but a relatively small percentage of people know how to breathe correctly.
Yes. You're born, you get slapped on your butt, and you think you're live and well and you breathe for life. It's not like that. the first learning you learn about breathing is to move the upper body, the upper part of your lung. If you don't learn, if you don't practice, you're never going to use the diaphragmatic breathing, which involves the full capacity of your lungs. So the diaphragm, when you learn how to move your diaphragm efficiently, you fill up your lungs in a different way. So if I breathe right or wrong, either more or less oxygen, up to me the way I use the diaphragm or not. So when I learn how to use that, I'm able to help my body in whatever needs, mental, spiritual, or physical.
When you, that famous scene in Choke, when you're moving your stomach around with the drums beating, it's really crazy. I love people love that scene.
Yeah.
Because you're using that control of your diaphragm. How did you learn how to do that?
The Orlando Cani.
He taught you how to do that?
He taught me, yes.
And how long did it take before you could move your stomach like that? I know
it's not as difficult.
Crohn can do that too, right?
Yeah, it's not as difficult. You can learn this in no time. You just need the right instruction because it's all about, it's a quick learning, you know. It's just, you have to put some attention. Because when you learn how to breathe, you start adding oxygen to your life. You can stay 7 days without food, 5 days without water, but 5 minutes without air, you're dead. So when you know how to hyperventilate, it's like it's double your life, triple your lifetime, because you not get tired as you want.
When you say hyperventilate, what do you mean by hyperventilate?
I'm here calm.
Right.
If I do this, I breathe. If I want to go dive, I need to hyperventilate. So I need to because I increase the circulation of oxygen in my body, and I increase the oxygen on the cells. So I do hyperventilation for a little while, and I triple the amount of time I'm going to be under the water.
Mm.
Another important thing for people to learn about breathing is the idea of inhale. The inhale is not the cause, it's the solution. So if I need a full lung, a full breath, I don't want to just do. If I want a full breath, I first need to. Now, I have a full breath. Because if I just start from here, I already have 30% of air inside, which is not, which doesn't empty enough. So in order for me to put it all in, 100% of good air inside, my liveness, my attention has to be on the exhale. Now I'm ready to get there. The effort, the strength on the muscle. If I need to get a big biceps, I need to curl. If I need to have a strong breathing system, I need to exhale. The inhale is natural. Some people, they feel tired. I need air. They go against the flow because they try to bring in, which is already claustrophobic. More I need air, more I, oh my God. So my liveliness, my focus is to take the bad gas out of me. The good gas coming naturally. Some people say, I need air. They need air, but they're already full of bad gas.
Mm.
So, and that's make a big confusion on the right way to the gas come in or out. So my organization in my brain is to put the bad gas out of me. So when I training consistently, I if I'm not effective on the exhale, I'm not going to be effective on the inhale. And the liveliness of my muscle system is the contraction. The contraction is the diaphragmatic breathing. This is a contraction. If I do a curl for get a strong biceps, that's the contraction. When I do this, I relax, contract. So contract, relax. So, and that's giving me a different edge to understand clearly everything around me.
It's interesting because it's so counterintuitive. The body naturally wants just...
Yes, and you get panic and claustrophobic.
Yeah, panic breathing. And that's you really learn that in jiu-jitsu. Like the good guys all know how to stay calm and breathe well in hard rolls.
Yes, very important.
So did you decide to write this book during the pandemic? When did he retire from the UFC?
I thought he was like 43 or 4.
Man, I mean, he fought Lyoto Machida. He was deep in his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Or in his 40s.
He wouldn't have been closer to 50. Would he have been?
Well, when did he fight Lyoto Machida?
I know, I can't.
2011.
2011.
April 30th, 2011.
Wow.
Dude,
yeah.
That's crazy.
14 years
So,
later.
yeah.
I can tell you I'm not fighting that long.
So he's 48. He was 48.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 48
what I
when he
thought.
fought
He was almost
Machida.
50.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's super rare, though. Super rare. You know? Like, Bernard Hopkins was the only other guy that fought, like, at a world-class level into his 50s. Bernard was, like, at 50.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that I feel that good to be able to compete when I'm 50. But I'll tell you what, I do a lot of hunting and fishing stuff with Hendo.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's like...
Yeah, he's like a robot. He barely can move.
Like, Dan. And he's like, huh. It's like...
Now, does he feel all right when you talk to him?
Oh, yeah. Like, that guy still spars. He tells me he still spars.
Does he really?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, Dan, you're insane.
Why does he spar?
It's a good workout. I'm like, Dan, I could give you like 50 other things you can do that's a good workout that you don't have to spar, get punched in the head. But
he's so stiff. It's like, is he stiff because he's just stiff, or is he in pain?
I think he's just stiff.
Even if he's in pain, he would never tell you.
No. He's got
the
cauliflower hands. I like look at his hands sometimes and I'll just grab them and I'm like, dude. And they just feel hard, like harder than most people's bones, like in their hand.
Well, all
like,
of
what?
Dan's body feels weird.
Yeah.
Like when you put your hand on his back, it's like mahogany.
Yeah.
It's like what are you fucking
It's
made
just
out of
petrified wood.
Yeah. He's not. He doesn't feel like a regular person.
No.
I talked to the lady that massaged him. She goes, I have never met someone more dense.
Yeah. He is
like he's
dense.
just dense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Well, that's where he got all that power too. You know, I mean, his whole body's just fucking.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's an odd dude.
He is. I love him.
He's amazing, amazing person. I mean, you got to realize this guy competed as a heavyweight and knocked out Fedor. Remember that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's
and
crazy.
that was when Fedor was still Fedor. This is like Fedor's still fighting, right? But this was like more than 10 years ago. This is in Strikeforce.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we sat and watched a bunch of those highlights from a lot of those fights. We were over at my buddy Chad Belding's house, and we were doing some filming and stuff, and we just sat down, and everybody just kind of quit what they're doing and just watched that dude just KO dude after dude. And it's everybody's like, man, Dan, because like a lot of the girls that work there and stuff that help us, I don't think they really understand who Dan Henderson is.
Right.
And they're just watching this stuff on TV, and they're like, Jesus. And Dan's just like, it's like, you know, it's like, I love the guy to death, man.
He's quite a character. Yeah. He's quite a character and a real pioneer. I was there for his first fight too.
Were you?
Yeah, that was. I think his first fight was versus Alan Goes. If that wasn't his first fight in the UFC, it was one of the first fights, and I think he was in like a tournament with Alan Goes.
Yeah, I remember him talking about that. I missed it. I didn't see it, but he told me, if I remember right, he beat someone, and
Carlos
then the crowd got really upset by the call, and there was people storming the cage or the ring.
I think that was the Alan Goes fight.
Yeah, people were pissed.
Yeah, that was a